Welcome back to another episode of Charge Collective. This is a podcast that is here to help you become the best version of yourself through teaching health, wealth, and happiness. Today on our podcast, this is just a quick little one that I've noticed over the weekend, but it's all about getting out of your own way, getting out of that fixed path that you live your life on. And the way that I notice this is, for those of you that do know me and that have listened along, I've lived a pretty, I guess I'd call it like a pretty fixed life. I like a lot of structure around my life. I've played rugby league my whole life. I've ran my whole life. I've been on the tours my whole life. And I've done a lot of these things that you just do the same thing over and over, and it's very repetitive. And I enjoyed that in my lifestyle. And when you sort of look at those things, one thing that I didn't notice is the body gets stuck in a very fixed position. So you notice how like when you're running a lot, it's just pretty much repetitive over and over, step after step after step. And we don't think about our whole body. Same thing when you're in the tools, you're just lifting all day, every day. And same thing playing like rugby league, you're just thinking about how tough you can be. And a lot of it's just like manhandling our way through life. And over the weekend, I went and done like a whole body sort of, I guess you'd call it like awakening sort of thing, but without it being like woo-woo sounding. But it was just like all about thinking about how the body works from our big toe all the way up to our skull, pretty much. And so you're just working on your balancing and all those little muscles that we really neglect through our whole life. And it just got me thinking about how I've never used a lot of like my stabilizing muscles around my hip and my lower back. And I've always had a lot of dramas with those throughout my whole life. But then coming out of that, as much as it was like an awesome transformative like process for me thinking about how physically I want to adapt and actually use my whole body, but it just made me think about how many of us get stuck in our life to life doing the same thing over and over again. And we actually never look about how different it can be and what is out there for us. So this podcast is here to just like open up your mind about what are some different ways that you can look into your life and go and actually do new stuff to bring yourself a bit of joy and a bit of happiness, and just really think outside of that square of this is how I live my life, this is the things that I do, and just open up to going and trying new stuff. This year is probably the most that I've tried new stuff. And it's funny because like, even though I'm going and doing new physical activities, I'm finding that my brain is the one that gets the most out of it. Because, for example, like going and doing jiu-jitsu, you walk in there and you come in with that ego of being a rugby league player. Like, yep, I'm tough. I can go in there and I'm pretty strong. I lift a fair bit of weights. But the thing is, it's all about the technique that makes you a good jiu-jitsu competitor, or a good jiu-jitsu trainer at least. So you get in there, and within the first session, you are humbled, like ultimately very quick. But your brain just can't understand why that your body can't do that. So when you're going around life and you just get stuck in this thing of, okay, my 5 days throughout the week, I go to the tools, or I go to work and I work at a school and I go and do this. Or this is just like you get fixed in this lifestyle and you go, okay, so those 5 days are shut down. And then you get to the weekend and obviously you want to have a bit of time to yourself. So you spend like your Saturday and Sunday and you never actually really plan to go and do anything different. And that's why on our last podcast that me and Jimmy done, I spoke about Jesse Itzler, and he talks about planning his year in advance and trying to do like mini tasks and mini little things that you can add into your life. But just bring a little bit of a spark, bring that something different into your life, because we all get so stuck and regimented in our life that we need to consciously bring the new spark. Because if you don't actually try and bring it in, your life will stay very similar for the next 50 years. Like you would not go and do anything different. But if you think about something that lights you up, or you might be like, oh, that's actually pretty scary, the thought of going and doing that. You go and do it, and then you're like, oh, wow, did I enjoy that? Or was it can be shit as well, but at least you have a story to tell about it. So if you go and do an experience that is completely new for you, you either walk away with like the fuck yes, that was awesome and I'm going to go and do that again, or the fuck no, and you've got a funny story to tell about it, why you didn't enjoy it. So it's just all about like opening yourself up to these new experiences. And like I was probably at the start of this year, probably the start of this year, I would have been the most fixed person you could ever meet. Like I just liked my life how I like my life. I don't want to change anything else. But now 9 months into the year where I've actually been going and traveling around America and doing a lot of things that I wouldn't have said that I would actually enjoy, now I can tell, like, I can walk away and be like, this is a fuck yes, this is a fuck no, and I know why I want to do it. Like, and that's the joy that brings out of it. Like jujitsu, like for me, I'm like, oh, do I really want to like wrestle with sweaty men? But now I'm like in there and I'm like, oh, it's not even about the wrestling for me anymore. It's about like the physical attributes that I get from it. Like, sorry, the mental attributes I get from it. Like it's like playing chess with your body and trying to think ahead. And now it's like also doing this little workshop that I've done over the weekend. I'm like, oh, do I really want to focus on just like trying to balance and be in coordination with my whole body and sort of thing? And it's not woo-woo, but I just like wouldn't look at it as being like a tough, manly thing to do. But then Mark, the guy that ran the class, I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh, you're a pretty like manly man, and you understand the body, and it's just like that sort of fixed mindset we get. It's like, oh, you got to be tough and like push through, and if your body's breaking, you just got to keep pushing harder, and eventually it'll sort of come back. Whereas he had that whole different approach of like, if your body's breaking, it's breaking for a reason. So like now, how about we figure out the reasons why? And you can still be a man's man, but be in touch with your body and learn about different stuff. And that just like I walked away with that as like a whole new experience as well, because my whole life I'd learned to just be like that tough guy that just pushes everything away to the side. So until you go and do these new stuff, you're not actually going to learn what it is, and you're not going to learn how it feels either. So you can listen to me talk about it and be like, oh, that sounds cool for Lane. But until you actually go and just like pick something that's completely random for you, like go and grab a Rubik's Cube and try and learn how to do a Rubik's Cube, or go and grab a yo-yo, trying to learn how to yo-yo, or just like something that's just like so out of your realm that you've never done before. And you become a beginner again and you learn that task through that. So that's 6 weeks little learning. It's all about getting out of your own way and just trying to book something in or trying to try something new that is just out of your realm, out of your everyday life. And then you're going to be able to say, is that a yes that I really enjoyed that? Or is it a no? And you're going to have like a story to tell. So I hope that's helpful, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. See you later.